Welcome to round 3 of the Parenting Roundabout podcast for the week of June 7th. I'm Nicole Erdix, and I'm here with Terry Morrow.
Hello.
And Catherine Holeko.
Hello.
We're moms of teens and young adults, and when it comes to parenting, we've been there, done that, bought the t-shirt. But we're still waiting for that day when we'll reach the finish line and have no further need to lay down in a dark room with a wet rag over our eyes worrying about something or other. Wednesday is complaint day here on the Parenting Roundabout, and today we are complaining about our kids consuming pop culture from our time.
Or not.
Or not. Exactly. And I saw this as an article in, I can't remember where. And then I've just been thinking too that like recently there's been a lot of reflection on, just things that we've done in the past that probably and definitely were not appropriate. And I think back on all those movies in the 80s. Mm-hmm. And there were several of them that are kind of being called out for some of the actions of the, from the script writing and the actors and what was happening in the movie. So, I know that my daughter's seen a couple of those movies, and obviously she knows that it's not appropriate, but it's just kind of an interesting conversation. Like when you think back on the stuff that you watched growing up, would it be appropriate for your own kids today and, or not? Like, do you have any thoughts on that? I guess there's a couple movies that I can think of, like for example, 16 Candles, my favorite all-time movie, but there's a scene in there that is not appropriate at all. Like, well, there's a couple, but there's one that is very, it's not.
I think even then it was a little bit eyebrow raising, wasn't it? Or people were. I
don't think I was in tune to it.
Uncomfortable.
Not. Do you know which scene I'm talking about?
Maybe not.
Oh, okay. So the one.
Well, that there's like racism in that movie, and there's like consent problems.
Totally. That's
Okay. I was thinking of the character. Isn't that the one where a character has a yuckity yuck Asian name?
Yes. That's what I meant by racism.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
But there was a
and then there's a whole
also.
Consent issue
I have
as
not
well.
attuned my cultural memory to all the incidences of that.
Well, it stands out because it's also been in the news recently. Like people have been bringing it up that that wasn't, and that was one of my favorite movies, right? So, and at the time, I just wasn't in tune to, that's kind of a little bit wrong on every level. So, but I know my daughter's seen it, and she definitely knows that that's not appropriate. But I don't know. Are there movies that you think about, or that? Well,
I think about like when I was a kid, I loved Little House on the Prairie, the books, the TV show. I had particularly the books. I had the whole set, and I would read the whole thing, and then I would just go back to the beginning and start over and read it again. And there's definitely some cringy stuff in there that now you're like, the treatment in particular of Native Americans has been called out in recent years. So, that's tough to deal with, but my kids were never interested. So
right.
Like I really wanted them to love it because I loved it, and they just could not care more. Could not care. Did not care.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say.
That's pretty much the situation I'm in. If it has any connection to me whatsoever, they would not be interested in it. And, if it was something I liked, even more so. And if it's something, older culturally than their childhood, it's embarrassing and only for old people. And why would we want to watch that? So from time to time, I try to get them to watch something I love, like, the Muppet movie or The Princess Bride. Are there issues in Princess Bride? If people call out issues in Princess Bride, if they have, I don't want to know about them.
No, I don't think so.
So they're just not interested. And even though my daughter will be a good sport and sit down for it, she usually falls asleep pretty quickly if she's not engaged, or she just, says, "Have I put in my time, Mom? Can I go now?" So even if there was something problematic, I mean, I'm not thinking in terms of things that I think of from my youth that are problematic are like things that were scary for me then and would be scary for them now. And they can just, instead of having it in their head, they can just skip it. Like, I don't think my kids need to see Bambi, for example. The Wizard of Oz. The Wizard of Oz scared me, and I still will not watch it. And I would not make them watch it because it's awful. It's scary.
It's terrifying. I wouldn't look. I mean, I was afraid that the witch was under my bed, like for years.
Yeah.
It was like this very traumatic, horrible.
I was traumatized by that thing, and I still, if I accidentally see a little bit of it now, I'm like, oh.
I know. Or all those some of those Twilight Zone episodes.
It's so
freaked
scary.
Me out.
So I would avoid all those childhood classics that made me afraid. I was easily scared as a kid, I think. But those I would be very happy for my kids to take a pass on. And if they ever said they want to see them, I would say, if I mentioned The Princess Bride is pretty good. How about that? There's some scary stuff in there, but it's funny also, which is the way I like my scary. But,
yeah. We find, especially with my son, there's stuff that either from our past or, newer stuff like some of the new Marvel stuff or the new Star Wars stuff. He's interested and he wants to watch it, but he does not want to watch it with us. Right. He'll watch it on his own time. And maybe he'll consent to discuss it with a parent later if that parent has also watched it, but he will not sit in the same room and watch it. Which for me is not really a problem, but for my husband, he's like, The Mandalorian or something. They both watched it, they both liked it, but they didn't watch it together.
Yeah, my husband, he loves watching older shows and older movies. Planet of the Apes is one of his favorite movies or series. I know. Or I can't tell you how many times it's just been on repeat. What's that one? Groundhog Day. Oh my gosh! Constantly playing.
But that's a good.
Saying that he watches Groundhog Day over and over again. Isn't that kind of the point?
Literally, he does that. Yes. I mean, it's constant, and I don't know why he does it. But, so my kids have definitely been around when he's been, those or Happy Gilmore, or just all those old Adam Sandler movies are brutal. Sometimes I'll put my foot down and be like, no, we're not watching that. No. It's just not appropriate. But yeah, so I think about just I guess the message that some of them are sending. I mean, not necessarily out of fear, even though Jaws was definitely another.
No, thank you. I never saw that.
That one traumatized me.
Didn't that cause you to think there were sharks in swimming pools for years?
For years. Still, even now, I have to admit, I get afraid. But I think for me, it just more revolves around the racism and the whole consent, women's rights type thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think in some cases you can watch it and talk about it and be like, this is why I don't appreciate this or whatever. You can teachable moment the thing, but because times change, so and you can discuss it instead of just saying we don't do that, we don't watch this because it's not.
If we promise not to show them to our kids, can we still watch them, enjoy them ourselves? Or do they need to be put off limits? Because I have a feeling that a lot of romantic movies I may have liked in past years would now not pass muster in some way or another. And fortunately, it's impossible to find any of them. So I have videos that probably are degrading and stuff, but
Right.
I don't know. I still just kind of want to love the things I loved and have them be from another time, and
Yeah.
don't do it now, but
Right.
come on. Fortunately, that wouldn't be the reason I wouldn't want my kids to watch something from a long time ago. It would just be, they would be bored. They wouldn't understand it. They wouldn't care. They wouldn't like it. And I like it. And I don't want people to not like
Right.
things that
You
I
don't
like.
want
So,
them to
fine,
not-
I'll just watch it myself or remember it. Tell me the story of it. Tell myself the story of it. Look on YouTube to see if anybody has made a super bad copy of it that I could watch. That's it for today's round 3. Tune in tomorrow when we'll obsess about Father's Day, and then on Friday to see what we've come up with for our Roundabout Roundup picks this week. Find all our episodes at parentingroundabout.com and talk back in the comments there on our Facebook page or on Twitter, where you'll find us at Roundabout Chat.